You wake up tomorrow morning with a terrible fever. Your head is burning. Your body feels weak. You can barely stand. What do? Most of us would reach for medicine, call a doctor, or go to a hospital. But now imagine something even worse. You are not living in the modern world. You are living 30,000 years ago. There are no hospitals, no doctors, no medicine, no pharmacies, no ambulances, nothing. Just you, your pain, and the wild world around you. So here's the question. How did ancient humans survive without doctors? And perhaps an even more terrifying question. How did our species survive long enough to create modern medicine in the first place? Because ancient humans faced dangers that would terrify most people today. A small cut could become deadly. A broken bone could end your life. An infection could spread through your body with no way to stop it. Yet somehow, humanity survived. Not only survived, but multiplied, spread across the entire planet, and became the dominant species on Earth. How? The answer begins with one powerful advantage that humans had over almost every other animal. They weren't alone. Imagine a small tribe sitting around a fire thousands of years ago. Maybe 20 or 30 people. Hunters, gatherers, children, elders. Everyone depended on each other. If a wolf injured one hunter, the tribe didn't simply abandon him. Evidence discovered by archaeologists reveals something shocking. Scientists have found ancient human skeletons with severe injuries that had completely healed. Broken legs, crushed arms, even major disabilities. These people couldn't have survived on their own. Someone had fed them, protected them, carried them, for months, sometimes years. This means ancient humans were caring for sick and injured people long before doctors existed. In a strange way, the first hospital wasn't a building. It was the tribe itself. And that simple act of helping each other may have been one of humanity's greatest survival tools. But caring alone wasn't enough. Ancient humans also became incredible observers. Imagine living in a world where every mistake could be fatal. You would pay attention to everything. What plants helped wounds heal? Which berries made people sick? Which leaves reduced pain? Which roots lowered fever? Generation after generation, people watched, learned, remembered, and passed knowledge to their children. Over thousands of years, tribes built enormous collections of survival knowledge. They didn't call it medicine, but in many ways, that's exactly what it was. Some plants used by ancient humans were so effective that modern scientists later turned similar compounds into actual medicines. Without laboratories, without microscopes, without chemistry, humans were slowly discovering treatments through observation and experience. But despite all this knowledge, there was one enemy that ancient humans feared more than almost anything else. An enemy so small they couldn't even see it. An enemy responsible for countless deaths throughout human history. And the terrifying part? Ancient humans had absolutely no idea it existed. That invisible enemy was about to become one of the greatest challenges our ancestors ever faced. The invisible enemy was infection. Today, if harmful bacteria enter a wound, doctors can prescribe antibiotics. But ancient humans had no idea bacteria even existed. Imagine you're hunting near a rocky cliff. You slip. A sharp stone slices your leg open. At first, it doesn't seem too bad. You can still walk. You return to camp. The wound starts hurting. A day later, it becomes swollen. 2 days later, red streaks begin spreading across your skin. Your body grows hot. You develop a fever. And nobody knows why. To ancient humans, it probably felt like a curse. One moment you were healthy. The next moment, something invisible was slowly killing you. Many people undoubtedly died this way. But ancient humans were not helpless. Over thousands of years, they discovered something remarkable. Some natural substances seemed to work better than others. Certain plants reduced swelling. Certain tree barks eased pain. Some types of clay helped keep wounds clean. Honey, used by many ancient civilizations much later, could slow the growth of harmful microbes, even though nobody understood the science behind it. People simply remembered what worked and forgot what didn't. This was survival through trial and error. Unfortunately, trial and error came with a terrible price. Many mistakes were fatal. Yet every generation passed valuable lessons to the next. Slowly, human medical knowledge grew. But wounds and infections weren't the only problem. Think about something even more frightening. What if an ancient human broke a bone? Today, a broken leg usually means a hospital visit, x-rays, surgery, and weeks of recovery. 30,000 years ago, A broken leg could be a death sentence. Imagine trying to keep up with your tribe while moving through forests, mountains, or open plains. Food wasn't delivered to your doorstep. You had to find it. Every day, a person unable to walk was in serious danger. Yet archaeologists have uncovered ancient skeletons with fully healed broken bones. Some injuries were so severe that recovery must have taken months. This discovery shocked researchers because it revealed something important about our ancestors. They didn't just care about strong people. They cared about vulnerable people too. Someone with a broken leg needed food. Someone had to protect them from predators. Someone had to help them move. Entire groups invested time and energy into keeping injured members alive. This level of cooperation was incredibly rare in nature, and it may have been one of humanity's secret weapons. Our ancestors survived not because each individual was powerful. They survived because they worked together. But perhaps the greatest challenge wasn't injury. It wasn't infection. It wasn't even predators. It was something every human experiences eventually. Pain. Imagine having a terrible toothache. Not for one day. Not for 1 week. For months. No dentist. No painkillers. No treatment. Just constant agony. Archaeologists have found ancient skulls with horrifying dental damage. Rotten teeth. Massive infections. Abscesses. Some individuals must have suffered unimaginable pain. And yet many survived for years. How? Because ancient humans became masters of endurance. Modern society has given us incredible comfort. But our ancestors lived in a world where discomfort was unavoidable. Cold winters. Hunger. Injuries. Disease. Pain was part of daily life. They adapted mentally as much as physically. And that mental toughness helped humanity survive challenges that seem impossible today. But there was one moment in life that was more dangerous than any hunt, any infection, or any broken bone. A moment so risky that for most of human history, it claimed countless lives. The birth of a child. And without doctors, hospitals, or modern medicine, childbirth was one of the greatest survival tests ancient humans ever faced. Childbirth was one of the most dangerous moments in the ancient world. Today, millions of mothers give birth safely thanks to hospitals, doctors, and modern medicine. But for most of human history, none of those things existed. Imagine a woman going into labor 20,000 years ago. No hospital room, no medical equipment, no emergency surgery, no ambulance if something went wrong. Just a small group of family members gathered around her, hoping both mother and baby would survive. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. In fact, historians and anthropologists believe childbirth was one of the leading causes of death for women throughout much of human history. Yet despite these dangers, generation after generation continued. Humanity kept growing. How? Because ancient communities learned something incredibly important. Knowledge saves lives. Experienced mothers taught younger women. Elders passed down techniques they had learned over decades. Every successful birth became a lesson. Every tragedy became a warning. The tribe itself became a living library of survival knowledge. And eventually, some individuals became known for their healing skills. These people weren't doctors in the modern sense, but they were often the closest thing ancient humans had. They knew which plants reduced pain, which herbs eased stomach problems, which remedies helped wounds recover. Many cultures later called them healers, medicine men, shamans, or wise women. Some of their beliefs were based on superstition. Some were surprisingly effective. But regardless of what they were called, they represented humanity's first attempts to understand illness and healing. And that's what makes this story so fascinating. Ancient humans didn't survive because they had advanced technology. They survived because they never stopped learning. Every injury taught a lesson. Every sickness revealed new information. Every generation inherited thousands of years of experience from the people who came before them. The knowledge was imperfect, sometimes wrong, sometimes dangerous. But little by little, humanity improved. And eventually those observations led to herbal medicine. Herbal medicine led to early medical practices. Those practices evolved into science. And science eventually gave us doctors, hospitals, vaccines, antibiotics, and modern healthcare. In a strange way, every doctor alive today stands on the shoulders of countless forgotten humans who experimented, observed, failed, learned, and tried again. But perhaps the most surprising answer to our original question is this. The greatest medicine ancient humans ever had wasn't a plant. It wasn't a remedy. It wasn't a healer. It was each other. A wounded hunter survived because someone shared food. A mother survived because other women helped her. A sick child survived because an entire group protected them. Human beings became the dominant species on Earth not simply because we were intelligent, but because we cooperated, because we cared, because we refused to leave each other behind. And maybe that's the real reason humanity survived without doctors for tens of thousands of years. Not because our ancestors were stronger, not because they were luckier, but because they understood something that still matters today. No human survives alone. The next time you walk into a hospital, swallow a pill, or receive medical treatment, remember this. You are benefiting from a journey that began thousands of years ago around campfires, inside caves, and among small tribes struggling to survive in a dangerous world. A journey built by countless people whose names we will never know. And somehow, against all odds, they survived long enough to make our world possible. And that may be the greatest survival story in human history.